the tried and tested Akali counters and the Jace, Gwen counters and the Jace and Akali come through. And now AL, they ban the Ezreal. The second ban, it's kind of a difficult one to place. There's so many AD carries you could play, but what would they actually want to play, right, in this situation? They're going to go for the Xayah, something that we've seen Fong bring out a lot as his, like, substitute, but not really something we've seen from anyone else too much. But there's still tons of options. You can even go for something like the Varus in this situation. Jhin is a possibility. You do need an AD carry, though. You can't play something like the Ziggs because you have AP, mid, and top. But now, though, they're just going to prioritize AD carry, support, sorry, right? They're going to go for the Leona in this situation, liking the matchup of the Leona into the potential Nautilus. But I feel like here, AL, you could just go for the Thresh in this situation if you really wanted. You might be lacking engage. That is potential concern, but we do see things like the Thresh sync very well with the Aphelios. Tahm Kench, another perfectly valid option.
Yeah, I wanted to see the Sett, but I understand, you know, when Tahm Kench is open, the intensity of the want to pick that champion, as Gnar is the fourth lock-in for anyone's legend. They immediately start hovering that Tahm Kench, but it would be a difference, right? We have seen the Nautilus Leona kind of traded down in this series so far, and it seems to have favored Meiko to some extent, right? The solar flares, the connections, the just forward aggression for EDG is always there when he's on the Leona, and I get what I want in the draft because I get the Sett for QiuQiu.
Yep, Sett coming out. So seeing a little bit of this here and there. Obviously, that point and click CC, right? Good trading in the early levels with the shield. And now Viper hovers every single AD carry in the game. Yes, those are the champions we're expecting you to pick at least one of them. And they are going to go for the Jhin in the end. So, you know, when you have the engage coming in from the likes of Meiko from Scout, you can just pop that ultimate and fire down. I feel like EDG's composition, you know, if you make the front to back work, they have exceptional diving threats, right? Viper could just sit on the back line and fire away. I think they came out of this draft very comfortable.
Still upset, though. They could have picked Jhin fourth. And that's all I'm going to say on that one. Because 4 is strong. All right? We've seen that. Aux, we have seen. There's a reason why Jinx has been banned twice now in a row by EDG. But in all actuality, it's going to be an interesting setup for EDG and the way they're going to play this, right? They have a lot of standoff engage, the solar flares, the follow-up with the shadow surge, and the utility and the peel back as well. And it's going to be a lot to the execution of AL to get this going for themselves. Those skirmishes are going to be very tight-knit, but it's about, you know, getting a huge showstopper into a face breaker, getting the CC combo down with the charm engages that we've seen constant with this Ahri pick. It all comes down to a large bar of execution for anyone's legend.
Yeah, and honestly, if EDG botch it when they're diving in, right, Betty's able to free fire and just melt everyone in front of him, that's when you can start seeing the resets come in, right? And I feel like if you're getting on Betty and you're dealing with like charms being thrown at you and Cho disrupting, Mega Gnar repairing, I can kind of see it, but I still just feel like EDG's composition kind of insane, right? I feel like having the Gwen really comfortable. You're not in one of the terrible matchups like the Jace, or I mean, Akali's not awful, but it's not great. The Xin Zhao Gwen combo, it's just so frustrating. Like, I feel like there's about 8 seconds, you know, it's 10 seconds in total, but they're not going to overlap them perfectly. But there's like such a long period of time where Betty just can't do any damage.
Yep.
And that is really where EDG can find favor.
Well, we're into the last game of the day. 6 strong all the way. Thank you to the audience for sticking with us. You just got to bear in a little bit longer. EDG trying to lock in playoffs tonight. AL keeping their dream alive and also playing the underdog spoilers. It has come down to the nitty gritty. It has come down to chaos, and we thrive with it in the LPL.
Absolutely. I want to see what Flandre... You know, Flandre, I feel like starting top side, right, against a Gwen is always like really unfun because the Gwen just does that thing the Shy started doing. Well, we saw from him first, right, in competitive way. He just walks up to you and just is annoying.
Pretty much. I like the deep thread analysis there. Is annoying. I can appreciate that.
High level point, and then I'm just like, yeah, it's just irritating.
That's you, but you're speaking to me. You're speaking beautiful. Like, I understand that 100%. Come on.
Yeah, look, it looks like Flandre is going to be irritating.
ZDZ walked away and now has to walk back. He's like, man, come on. They're still going to
get out of here.
Flandre, though. It's like, shoo, Flandre, shoo. He's actually getting a lot of
damage. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Andre just dash away, right? You got Doran shield, second wind. You're going to be okay in this situation, even though you got chunked out a fair bit. But, man, it's so irritating. But credit to ZDZ, right? He did at least make sure his jungler could take the blue on bot lane. We saw all the back and forth in the previous game. I expect similar in this one, right? Especially, you know, both of these supports can play very aggressively. Leona in the extended trades does really well, right? Because just Q cooldown keeps coming back. But Sett, if you use the burst power of your W, and on top of that, the massive shield you get, can really be troublesome.
How I understand it, right? I just, in essence, as a play-by-play, maybe I'm not all analytical, but the essence of the Sett Leona matchup makes me so happy to see the Sett, because what Leona wants to do is either play through the front target into Betty. That sets up for the face breaker, baby. And I can't wait to see these kinds of executions come down between these two, because QiuQiu is a support that I have held in high regard, right? Even if AL have not had the most promising season, going against Meiko is a big moment for him, as well, as we see bodies around the mid lane here as both junglers showing up.
Yeah, actually what we see here is Xiaohao kind of knows he's going to get invaded on his bot side, so he wants to help push the wave a bit so his mid laner can help. But look at this move from Meiko. It's having to be matched by QiuQiu, but right now, so scared of just getting jumped on as soon as you walk forward.
Oh,
there we go.
Yeah, a lot of damage back. Wind becomes lightning as well. QiuQiu is here, threatening the re-engage, but just looking for the ward clear, and Meiko stepping up still. It's a 2v2 with now the ADCs coming down, but they'll get in their own 1v1 scuffle there. It looks like Viper will make it through, meaning EDG feel confident in sticking around here.
Yeah, I mean, mid laners both starting to move as well. This could be a big skirmish.
Could be at 4 minutes just about. We might get Meiko going down. Jiejie goes back in. Big face breaker there. And that's the difference maker.
Oh!
Haymaker into a big one. And AL are losing a couple members, but they have found advantages here. Forge overextended, though. Nobody can help you. And how does it come from a huge set of events for QiuQiu to EDG pulling it out beautifully?
Why was Betty over the wall? I actually didn't watch that back because I saw it being such a win for AL, and then suddenly Betty's on the wrong side of the Dragon Pit, and then Forge goes after the Sett. I mean, that should have been a stomp for AL. The fact that it was a 2-for-2, EDG getting away with murder there. So, okay, we obviously saw the start, right? EDG failure engage. We get this huge face breaker coming in from QiuQiu that just like kind of grabs everyone together. And then Betty... Yeah, that's your team's face breaker.
Oh,
it's like he flashed away from it. Man,
you know, I hope that's not how everything went down, but it sure did look like it. Oh my goodness. There's too many abilities, okay? Cut him some slack.
Yeah, I don't know if it was truly that was the thought process. I think him flashing that way was a flat mistake, though. He should have flashed deeper into his team, because that means even if they do kill him, then at least they trade their lives, right? Because AL crushing that fight. And then Forge following over the wall. I'm going to be honest, that should be like a 3-throw for AL. The fact it was an even trade, but we're looking for a dive.
This is exactly the response and the progressive attitude I want to see from AL, because they're fighting Viper, and Xiaohao gets the kill.
Yeah, I mean, it's Meiko's like, you want to dive? I'm here. I'm ready. And then Viper just, they ignore the Leona, right? They don't care at all. And they're not going to try and dive Leona with all the lockdown. They just take the easy kill on the Viper, deny the farm.
Scout just taking a huge trade from ZDZ on a roam.
Yeah, roam's mid. I like this move. You have prio top. You come over mid, apply some pressure, force Scout away. And you know, I'm going to say, right, I was a little bit concerned about this Ahri pick again because it was just a bit non-impactful early in the series. But we are seeing so much activity from AL, right? Being proactive, and have things gone completely in their favor? No, the gold lead's not humongous, right? But they are making things happen, and that's what I was looking for.
Making things happen on the bot side too. QiuQiu moving forward with that Hex Flash, getting a decent amount of damage down as well. But now Viper has the range and can get some poke back. Still, this is like a very deadly combo when it comes to catching out an immobile Jhin.
Absolutely, especially no sums. That's a critical thing. Both AD carries have none available, and both supports have Hex Flash, which makes it a little bit exciting, I guess is one way you'd put it, but ultimately precarious. So have to make sure you have vision on those brushes, potentially where they can set up for those Hex Flashes. And now, though, EDG gonna have priority to just look towards this dragon on this one. Xiaohao nowhere really near, but he's been doing a pretty good job of just farming up so far. Has a level lead over Jiejie for the time being. Although they will be caught up though when the dragon is taken.
We've seen how important the dragon stacking has been, right? Both teams haven't gotten Infernal Soul already in the first
But it
game.
won't be
We
an
don't
Infernal
get
Soul again.
Infernal Soul this time. It's gonna be the Hex Tech now, though. I have no doubt. But it will.
I hope so. I've said this so many times. I love the Hextech Soul. Well, not so much a soul, but the gates. I think the gates are the coolest thing ever. They really just make things interesting when people are trying to find flank angles.
I love seeing that kind of adaptation in the game, right? And especially when you're seeing so many cannons played in the LPL, it gets so exciting. But
I've seen the modern hex technology. That's what we're here for.
There
right?
you
That's
go.
what everyone's...
There you go. We're innovating here in the LPL somehow, some way. But back to the spotlight, pressure on for AL as Viper and Meiko push the wave in. Redeploying towards this bottom side is Xiaohao as well. Maybe trying to punish EDG as their aggression unfolds.
Yeah, I mean, there could be a window, right? If EDG overstep, both targets have no flash. You just need someone to be in range of the face breaker from Chocho, and it's pretty easy to follow up. Does depend, although, what gun Betty has. If he has the Graviton, makes a big difference being able to layer that route first. But for now, you know, we've seen this matchup a lot today. A lot of people picking the Gnar into the Gwen as something that can kind of hold him off and mitigate. But it really feels like Gwen's been finding so much of that early momentum in the matchup. And the Gnar really struggling for the time being.
But it's all about the late game for those two, as we know, for the top lane, and especially for this matchup.
I'd rather be a Gwen in the late game than a Gnar, is all I'm saying.
Come on, you've seen those legendary 5-man Gnar ultis. You know you want to hit one of those in late game. You know, come on.
I'd still rather be a Gwen.
Still rather be a good. Well, hey, 2021 champion.
Gwen is immune, right? How are you supposed to hit a 5-man ult if Gwen's immune?
It's the Venn diagram comp again. It's actually terrifying, though. Meanwhile, terrifying is mid lane. A little bit of engage from Meiko goes wide, but the wave clear is there. And we could just have a large presence because we have the Rift Herald on the table.
You know, I said it was kind of one of those situations where we had like the really one-sided game one, really one-sided game two, and then get a full-on fight here. 5 men strong from both sides coming up towards this Herald. I will say,
feels
EDG,
right.
Yeah, this feels like the LPL.
I feel like we finally made it. We've made it home. ZDZ nowhere near a Mega Gnar ulti, though. It needs to be a little bit careful with how little the tankiness is going to be there. And Rift Herald just taken by EDG.
Yeah, easy pickup. They got there first. They had the presence. Critically, Flandre was trading up in the top lane, so very easy setup for EDG to grab that one. But now they're looking for a fight.
Just looking for it. 5v5, face breaker again, but the Crescent Guard coming out, and now the reset from Scout is there. Here he comes. Shadow Surge, but can't get Chocho. On the other side, AL, Betty, and Forge are putting up a fight, but here comes Scout again. Misses the Shadow Surge. Now doesn't really have anything, but here's the curtain call. 1, 2, shot, 3 shot is there. 4th shot not going to be there because Scout is dead, and it just ends up being a trade. This is exactly what we planned for. The script writes itself.
Dude, this is what I said, right? Game 3, close as heck, and that was such a back and forth. I think the critical thing, right, for AL, I actually think they could have come out ahead, but the major thing is that Xiaohao was one of the first to die, right? So we have this sort of play coming out. QiuQiu goes in very aggressively and goes for this big slam, right? And then Xiaohao doesn't get the kill and then is focused down here. Flashes, but can't get. So imagine if you have this Viego alive, getting these resets in this fight, it would make such a difference. Fortunately, you do have Forge able to land some great charms, and I think critically the Ahri is such a massive carry for AL in this one, just constantly getting those more ult charges over the course of it. And yeah, it just ends up being enough. 2-1-3 now for Forge on that Ahri. And the top laners were just watching, right? Or maybe they weren't even watching, they were just laning. They weren't even interested. Like, there's a fight, not in my business.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Come on, you don't need to be there. It's top lane. You're just fine on island. It's like a little bit of a vacation sometimes until the late game when you actually have to show up and do something. Now, let's talk about show up and do something. EDG in front of the Dragon Pit, setting up vision, setting up pressure. 40 seconds out from their second Dragon, and now setting up a little bit of a jungle invade trap onto AL. Not going to be any fruition there for the trap, though.
Yeah, trying to find something. I'm just going to throw it on the Herald mid, right? Going for the 2-plate play. We kind of see a lot get the 2 plates mid, and then you set it to be lower for later so you can finish it off. Scout's going to try and get in range for the gold and will be able to. But ultimately, you're not going to find too much more from the Herald at the back of this. They are committing heavily to this dragon. think someone take stock of his
Oh,
both
Betty.
AD carries without sums.
That's the deadly flourish as well in the back. Betty in some trouble. Showstopper gets them away and separates the fight. Haymaker as well, and Chocho with the turnaround. Now the souls are Xiaohao's, but Betty's in some trouble now. Scout used the Shadow Surge. Meiko left out to dry. They don't have anything anymore, and Xiaohao's getting the resets. The charm did not connect on a forge. Now curtain call out. This could be the changer, but he can't hit the second shot. He's looking for the third and the fourth. Now they could re-engage, but they decide to back off. Fourth shot misses, and EDG back away. But fight won by AL.
The problem is they won the fight, but it took so long in the aftermath. EDG have respawned, right? They're already heading over, and the health bars are low enough on AL that I don't even think they can contest this dragon right now. They're having to reset. So yes, fight won for AL. 2,000 gold lead, absolutely. Dragon is forfeit.
It is indeed. Now, I want you to start, as we get closer to this being down, start chanting with me, Hex Tech, Hex Tech, Hex Tech. I'm just hoping for some spice, but we'll see the replay instead and see if we get graced with it afterwards.
So Cleanse comes in from Betty, and it's great peel from Chocho there. And critically, they burst down Jiejie so that the reset comes in. But then watch Betty ult to heal as Scout is flying towards him. So this Aphelios under no threat. And again, it's red-white. Good weapon setup for when the enemy team are channeling into you. And once we see those resets coming in, and
hey, let's go. It's the power of the 6-game night. The script is just unfolding in front of us. How do we keep up?
Dude, I love me some
I
tech
heckin' love Arcane. You know what? I heckin' love Arcane. And I heckin' love the LPL. Chocho back on his stuff here as he steps up onto EDG's jungle. Xiaohao here with the invade as well. And we're just going to keep getting skirmishes because that's how we do it when it goes to 3 games. Meiko in some trouble here. The flash, the charm not going to be there, actually. And AL just using some of that aggression while we've gotten an island of our own in the bot side.
Yeah, I mean, Betty just applying so much pressure in this matchup. And the thing is, I feel like what's gone so well for the fights for AL is that when... Oh, my lord. God.
Oh, the caliber.
Oh,
he's got him. Viper goes down solo. Bolo for Betty. Throw up that Poro.
And that is revenge for the last game, right? We saw Viper on the Zeri jumping on a Betty, taking him out, and he gets him back. Manages to find it. Doesn't connect quite everything, but the ult to the end enough to take down Viper. Huge from Betty in this one. And you know, I'm taking a look at the score, right? 2,500 in favor of AL. 4-kill lead. AL, they might be doing it.
They might be doing it. They might be denying EDG's playoff ticket here tonight as Viper not able to hang with Betty in this 3rd game, at least to that extent. And it gets me so hyped to see these plays coming out from ADs. Viper last game with the Zeri going forward. It's constant gale forces forward. It is all about aggression in the LPL, and it fits just right.
Dude, they're doing it without Jinx as well. That's the crazy thing, right? Now, you know, EDG, they may be down, but they still have 2 dragons, right? Still have things like the Gwen, really powerful in team fights. I will say, though, what I've loved from AL is the way they've handled this Zhao in particular is Chocho gets up in his face and then like uses the true damage of the W to like burst him down. And AL, I mean, Betty just has the Gale Force advantage, but misses the Q, connects the ult at the end, and Viper just caught slipping.
Caught slipping indeed, and a big turnaround for AL in this 3rd game itself. 15 minutes in, they haven't gotten the neutral objectives. That doesn't matter. They let them go in order to take the fight, in order to have a goal lead here at that 15.5-minute mark, which has been something hard to come by when facing EDG.
I'm going to kind of remind you, earlier we sort of had a segment where we talked about EDG have had a bit of a rough time, right? They lost to a variety of the top teams, and that's what I want to emphasize, right? Is absolutely did EDG have a bit of a rough one where I believe they lost to RNG, right? They lost to who else was it? They won against LGD, they lost against V5, and lost against Top Esports. Lose against Top Esports, V5, and RNG. Those are top teams, right?
Yeah.
I expect to be some back and forth. AL are struggling to make playoffs, and they are currently leading in this game 3 against EDG.
It is an incredible place to be in this game. The competition brightly alive as we are in this bot lane with EDG because they are trying to get aggression of their own. But what we've seen so far has been the aggression of EDG turned back on them and a lot because of the CC chains, but QiuQiu on this set has been a game changer.
100%. I mean, it's just made such a difference. And I think when it comes to skirmishes, to scraps, one of the few champions that can actually go toe-to-toe with Leona in melee. Like, most really struggle, right? And try and keep her at a safe distance. But QiuQiu really delivering, going towards the chem tank, so he's going to have that extra mobility to try and get range. That's one downside to the set, right? Is you have to be so close to actually facilitate and engage. In fairness, for EDG, everyone apart from Viper is relatively, like, shortest range. So it's not too much of a problem, but still a bit painful. Right, 2,000 goal lead for AL. Dragon spawning in 20 seconds. This would be the third for EDG. I feel like this is kind of a must contest point. You don't want to let EDG get close to Soul, even if you currently have the lead. They are setting up, potentially fishing for a pick right now. Bit of damage on Jiejie, but not too much else. And Scout just coming in for the recess. Both top laners. TP's about to be available as well. It's going to be a big fight, Mazel.
It is indeed. And we've seen how important in both other games these dragon stackings have been. Both times, teams have just wholeheartedly committed, and now we see the wholehearted commitment for both of them at the same time. Rift Herald used as a distraction in mid will be the priority for EDG so they don't lose the tower to fall back to, but TP now being utilized by ZDZ to come join the fight. Needs to start stacking up that Gnar bar, though, to really have the engage potential.
We're trying to land some boomerangs there just to get it ramped up now. Forge won't connect the charm.
Deadly Flourish.
The dragon's been started.
Yeah, I don't think they need to contest this, but it looks like EDG want to. The dragon already going down. Meiko commits. They've committed on separate sides of the fight. The dragon actually goes over to Xiaohao at the end of it. Now the curtain call is probably going to be canceled because Forge is right on Viper's tail. We still have Meiko taking a 2v1, and AL come out with a trade. Not a trade anymore because Betty picks up Meiko, and it's a 2-for-1 with the dragon pickup, and AL come out on top.
I just find it hilarious. Both teams just look at the enemy jungler and say, that is my target. I'm taking them down. But fortunately for AL, not only is their jungler over by the dragon, so he's able to secure it, but also Meiko ends up getting caught out on the back end. So a 2-for-1 trade in favor of AL. They pick up that tower as well. It's now a 3,700 gold lead, and they've stopped the dragon stacking, right? Got one in pocket for themselves. I will also say attack speed, ability haste, pretty good for Aphelios, for Gnar, for Viego. And we've got the replay, so it is just very much both teams beelining for the junglers. So we see Jiejie just caught out by the solo laners, and over here, Xiaohao gets taken out, sure, but he gets the smite off before he dies, able to secure it. And Meiko, I'm sorry, dude, nothing you can do there.
Yeah, I love the, you know, trying to go as far as they can into the pit there, but doesn't really matter in the end. And AL are still in a gold lead, about 3,000 on that one. Having gotten their first dragon as well, stopping the early stacking from EDG. It was oh so crucial, and they executed on it beautifully.
And honestly, I think they've been managing this fight so well. Forge really popping off on the Ahri. We've seen some good Ahri performances. Scout definitely had a good one in the previous series that he played, but really finding these pivotal charms at great moments to deliver on. And I think been a big reason why these fights have been going so favorably. We haven't really seen the Zhao and the Gwen hold up too well in these skirmishes. And for now, AL definitely the ones with the lead. It'd be a long time before they can really amount to a soul for themselves.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Xiaohao, heartbreaker over the wall. Does not matter because the burn gets him, and Scout takes the kill.
Just enough damage. The CC layering, pretty good. Still able to get over the wall, but not quite enough. And EDG, it's a good move, right? Look for these picks because right now AL have such a strong 5v5, it feels. And they're kind of resorting to these moments. Remember, the dive potential of this EDG lineup really strong with the Jhin firing from behind. For now, they'll take some vision over the Baron area, right? Take that Scuttle Crab, applying some pressure and leaning up towards the top where Forge is. Yeah. But I think the menu waves is gone.
Side lanes are in full effect. Both bottom lanes have now transitioned into mid lane. And we have Baron on the table, but it seems like it's all task at this point when both teams want to fight for it. I mean, hey, maybe they just do, but at this point, I feel like it's going to be a lot more cautious approach to the Baron because those are the kinds of moments that absolutely just flip the table and AL can run away with it.
Plus, I think a pivotal thing is that neither team has lost, well, we've lost one tower for EDG, right? And other than that, all towers are up. It's very weird to be this late in the game and have so many structures alive. And I think it's very much limiting the aggression, right, from both sides. No one can push too deep because you're kind of blocked, you know, not indirectly by the dragon, right? If you push past it, very easy for the enemy to flank and also just retreat to their towers. So until we see those mid-tier ones cracked, it's going to be a bit difficult. And the thing is, the problem is it's very hard to do because both heralds are being used at this point. There's no like extra tool to really knock those down other than the Baron, and the Baron's quite difficult to secure themselves. So I like this move from EDG. They're moving down bot to sort of apply that pressure to the side lane. It is going to be responded to by AL, but AL, they're like, tower? There's also a Baron in the vicinity, so why don't we just head over that,
I see a lot of bodies in there, and I was hoping the camera wasn't going to pan over. They were doing it, but hey, they are, and a TP's now coming in from ZDZ. Flandre does have his in response, but the curtain call already dissuades a lot of the damage. Already down is the Baron, though. Xiaohao gets the smite. Now the fight afterwards, though. Meiko goes in. You still got the Xiaohao on the engage there, and he's still fighting. Do they get the actual resets, though, is the biggest problem, because Xiaohao on the Zenith Blade command can't really get the re-engage, and EDG, they lose the Baron. They do take one life.
Yeah, like EDG commit bot to try and get the game rolling, right? Trade the towers, and it's like they just forget that the Baron is on the top side of the map. And then AL just take it. Yeah, why not, right? You have so many champions. Well, you have the Viego and the Aphelios, both extremely effective at cutting through the Barons. So it's just like the easiest pickup. But then they approach. Scout doesn't even go in. He's waiting for an opportunity. Doesn't find it. They trade 1-for-1 on the back end. And AL get away with Baron. They're now 3,500 in the lead. Next Dragon spawning, but I don't think EDG are even going to contest this one. Really, AL just taking everything they want and more.
Yeah, I will say, though, some item spikes coming through does make EDG feel pretty confident in this one. They're moving into the pit here, trying to take the Scuttle Crab before AL can get there. But I think they realize, you know, without the priority already gained in mid, it's going to be harder to approach that. AL actually backing away from the pit just to keep the Baron priority up, because they know they can buy time.
Yeah, and it's such a pain to cut through this Baron wave for EDG. Viper doing his best in this situation. At the moment, it kind of begs the question, right? Viper looking very subdued on this Jhin. They opted not only to... Well, they opted to leave the AD carries very, very late in terms of picking the Jhin, right? Let AL ban away a big spread. And it just feels like so far, Betty's been the one with the more impact. Right now, EDG scooping up mid. Ideally, they find a fight and get rid of these Baron buffs, but I feel like it's so hard, especially with Forge now with this Banshees blocking any potential engage from Scout or Meiko.
Yeah, I will say, though, Betty, just on the crest of 3 items, is a terrifying prospect, right? He's definitely ahead of Viper at this point, and ZDZ now getting some free push in the bottom side. Has a full double wave here of Baron minions, just taking the side lane tower.
Yeah, Hullbreaker as well. Obviously, boosts the damage of your cannon and also your own damage to towers. Just deletes that now. Flandre trying to answer on the other side, but won't really find anything. And actually, despite the gold lead, I think the fact that EDG have 2 dragons is meaning they don't have objective bounties currently active. So even if they get that tower, it's not that big of a deal. And AL just continuing to push.
They're blowing this gold lead up. They still have 25 seconds on the Baron buff, and they're already at 5,000 ahead of EDG.
Yeah, I mean, they're finding so much momentum here. EDG, you know, they're kind of relying on Scout or Meiko to find an engage, but it's just not opening up.
They're going to get an inhib tower here with ZDZ's getting the pressure on it. It falls. That's so many towers taken consecutively. Flandre started to back, stopped his back, now finished the back, and they're losing another inhib tower.
It's just crazy. We went from the point where AL had 1 tower and EG had none, and now there's 9 taken overall, but AL just picking up so many, right? 6 off the back of the Baron, basically. And at this point, right, AL have a substantial gold lead. All that standing gold cash in. 5,000 ahead. We're going to see them reset. Aphelios will no doubt have completed his item plus extras. Medjai is coming through for Forge. It's going to be some very strong champions on the side of AL. And EDG, you know, I praise this Gwen Zhao combo. Very effective against the Jinx, right? Who wants to stand at max range, but Eddie seems pretty unperturbed by it. And on the whole, EDG are struggling to, like, execute. They want to be gap closing onto Betty, onto Forge. They want to lock them down, have Viper firing for the back, but it just hasn't been working so far.
I will say, though, I had a couple questions when seeing Viper go with the Jhin itself. But if you don't get that early lead, you don't have a presence on the map, right? you just feel like you don't exist. Like you don't do as much damage. By the time you get in a range to do damage, you're getting chased down by all the mobile champions that are filling League of Legends right now. And Viper has been trying to pull off the curtain calls, things along those lines, but it just has not been able to really change anything. And to see the difference of that, right? When we're seeing last game, he's on the Zeri, he's going for, he's literally taking 1v4s to the Jhin, where, as you were saying earlier, he's been kind of a ghost this game. It's such a difference, and it's such a crucial difference, because coming into today, it was the big focus. This bot lane, who will come out on top? You have world champions in Viper and Meiko against Betty and QiuQiu. And right now, it seems like Betty is, at least in this series, better in the moment than Viper.
I say Betty, I mean, game 2, Viper looked on point, but I think that the champions available can make such a big difference, right? The fact that game 2, obviously, Viper had his hands on the Zeri, but here, Aphelios, as much as like we praise Jinx and Zeri, Aphelios still something that's very frequently picked in the current meta. Jhin, really not so much, and as you said, not really having too much impact. I will say the one sort of thing I'm looking at on EDG is that Gwen, right? Flandre, level 16, highest in the game. 290 CS, again, highest in the game by a healthy margin, right? Has even a gold bounty, despite the fact his team is 5,000 gold behind, right? So that's who I'm looking for on the side of EDG. If Flandre gets in a fight, if he gets into a good position, he can kind of decimate, but it's a lot of slot bots right now. AL getting some vision control around Baron as kind of a precursor of this dragon that's spawning in a minute, right? They don't want EDG to be able to sneak in here and secure the objective, but the real goal will be that dragon. It would be their third. A lot of stats afforded by these dragons they have so far, but obviously the goal is working towards that soul.
All about the soul, and 4 Hextech dragons in a row would be a huge bounty for AL, as on Baron spawn they started up.
Never mind, right? They don't care about dragon.
Forge caught out a bit here, though. Does have the spell shield from Banshee's Veil. Court and Call already used there to scout them out. Got it, I guess, and taking a lot of damage from the Lord Dom's Betty Aphelios there. Looks like EDG finally moving in, deciding this cannot happen in front of them as the Baron goes down. It's the re-engage, the showstopper out of the pit, and the focus from AL. QiuQiu is still alive. Gnar, and it's AL taking it to the world champions, but Viper is still alive. It doesn't matter. Betty is the carry. Forge is the carry, and EDG lose it again.
EDG are getting crushed in these fights. It's not even close. They don't find a way in. They try to focus the damage on a QiuQiu. It's a Sett. It just doesn't work. AL get the Baron. They've still got that Goldie. They've still got Betty up. Looking to try and get as much as they can. They will take the dragon on the back of this as well. And EDG reigning world champions on the cusp of being knocked down by AL.
QiuQiu, you better call that ultimate a game stopper at this point. Jiejie almost dies to Forge, but it has been so inherent that QiuQiu is the focus, at least early on in the fights for EDG, but that's not the way to go. And the fact that he's getting so many people caught in his CC, caught out of position, this showstopper, the fact that AL all turn onto the Baron, the communication in that moment is so key, and it is executed on perfectly.
Yeah, and they're set up perfectly. ZDZ had Gnar ready. He literally, it's QiuQiu lining them up, and then ZDZ gets the strike, slamming them into the wall. Yes, those two die, but it doesn't matter. They win the fight off the back of that play. 7,000 goldies. 3 dragons in pocket now. Soul will be in 4 minutes, but honestly, at this point, Iron's still in hand. EDG have to survive for the next 4 minutes more than anything.
Absolutely do. 16 stacks now, and Forge is Magi, and the entire team really just putting it on here. Hextech.
Rabadons now as well.
Yeah. The Hex Drake is going to be huge as we get to the Soul, but it's inhibs right now that are threatened because of the Baron play for another minute of AL. So that means that, you know, they'll have time to reset before the Dragon get back on, get vision down, while having kept pressure on EDG the entire time.
I mean, they got more than enough time, but there will obviously, the Baron will time out and there'll be a bit of a relapse where EDG can try and move out. But right now, it's so threatening. And look at this, right? We're seeing this play on the bot side. Top, Wave just crashed with CDZ. Remember, he's got Hullbreaker. This tower's gone. Hullbreaker Triforce. You do see Flandre moving over to try and defend, but it's not going to be a fun time for him.
Yeah, we haven't gone up there just yet. Don't see the tower health on the map, as it's now ZDZ moving to mid, has almost the Mega Gnar. The inhib one auto attack away. Forge not one to step up, respecting EDG's engaged potential. Will now move there as EDG move to bot lane. The Hex Gates go for Flandre on the side. Chocho, Haymaker out. There's the Xiaohao re-engage onto Flandre though, and Forge has found an Everfrost onto Jiejie. Jiejie's just dead, and Forge Spirit rushes out. Showstopper by Chocho. The world champions are going down. The ship is burning, and AL, have they just done it?
Yeah, base is in shambles. Still 5 members strong from AL to defend. No ultimate for Scout or Viper, but Flandre still has his. Let's see what they can do.
The pressure is on EDG. We're on the verge of locking in playoffs tonight, and AL want to thwart it, but EDG will be able to defend, and AL taking it easy, realizing they have the world champions right in their grasp. They don't need to rush it.
Yeah, don't need to overplay this one. The Baron minions pushing in will put a lot of pressure on EDG. And critically, 2 minutes until the next soul. We're going to replay of the fight. And ultimately, EDG are like, right, the enemy team have split up. Let's just go. Let's just engage, right? The problem is, they're not really able to find it cleanly. Flandre doesn't get to join in. The TP comes in from the Mega Gnar, right? Not even just a Mini Gnar. And then Forge flies in. The burst damage from this Ahri even charms the wrong direction. It doesn't matter. You have enough damage just to burst out. Jiejie in that scenario. 20 stacks on the Medjais now. 1:30 until that Dragon Soul. And my question again, what can EDG do, right? It really feels like Flandre has to just decimate, but he's struggling so much to find a way in.
You have the timers just about 20 seconds apart. 1:20 till the Hex Dragon spawns the Soul for AL. About 1:35 now for the Baron. So it's going to be very, very close. And unfortunately, EDG are going to have to kind of choose where they want to defend because their base is in shambles. The super minions are pouring in the mid and bot, and they're just stuck in a corner.
Yeah, and critically, Flandre went for a deep push bot to relieve some pressure, but it means it's only 4 members. Well, 5 now he's turned up, but initially allowed AL to get this inhibitor very low. They're going to try and apply some pressure here. Trying to get some autos in. EDG fishing for an engage.
AL just on the press. We said they didn't want to rush it, but they want to rush this inhib to free up the dragon. Feels like they could get the reset off, but actually the charm connects onto Meiko, and he takes about half health there just on that trade, which means that AL moving in mid, have the super minions pushing in, and the third inhib will fall. This is the death rattle for EDG. They've just lost all of their inhibs. Double super minions are going to be pouring in, and AL, all they have to do is put the finishing touches here.
Yeah, but they have a choice in this situation. They can either keep pushing or look for the dragon. Engage comes in.
EDG won it though. Big haymaker back, and Meiko's already dead with the showstopper. Flandre's trying to do damage. Viper can't get the curtain call damage off. And 5 members strong are still alive. EDG running for the hills. Mega Gnar ulti, and the world champions are falling down one by one. Xiaohao is still no. Viper with the outplays here. He's got a double, a triple as well. And the defense, we said they didn't need to rush it, and they do, and it ends up falling.
They got impatient. Now Flandre's going to head over the dragon. I don't think Forge can contest him on it. He should be able to deny the soul. EDG managed to keep their hopes alive. Now Forge, if he lands charm first,
it can be scary.
No way you can step up. You can try and steal it, though. That's the critical thing. But if Flandre hops over that wall, he will kill you.
He definitely will. You gotta be really careful. Flandre actually playing it really safe. He's taking a decent amount of damage. I mean, this is a big dragon at this point, but still 2,000 health. He'll pull it out a little bit more. Forge using the Spirit Rush forward. Who's gonna get it? It's all down to it. It is the bounty secured by EDG, and they will hold on. We are tied 3-3 in dragons, but the base still in tatters for EDG.
Yeah, and the problem is Baron is alive, right? But we gotta look at the replay first. So critically, what happens here is Flandre just survives for so long, and he's what I was talking about, right? On this Gwen.
Exactly.
The engage comes in. It looks like it's going in favor of AL, but Flandre just goes completely untouched. They can't engage him in this position. They dive forwards with the ult, knock him in, but then this big ult connects on a Betty and Forge.
Yeah.
The damage from the Vex as well. The bouncing grenade comes in, manages to take out Betty, and then they clean up from there.
Back in live.
A huge amount, and now Baron up.
It's already down.
Triple inhibs down. It's so scary.
They literally can't do anything. EDG have to back away. They're just going to take their jungle scraps. And now you got Baron buff for 3 minutes on AL. Double super minions in every lane for another 1:15 seconds. This looks like AL pushing for the end, but this is what happened last time. They didn't have Baron buff. They didn't have as much going for them, but we'll see.
EDG lose against time, right? If you let the waves build up, you lose to the minions. So they will be fishing for an engage immediately. And look at AL's positioning. They know. So they are playing so far back, right? And if they're going to respawn in mid, that's definitely going to help a lot. But for now, EDG, a fight favors them if they can get on their terms. AL just want to take the structures down. Use the Baron buff. Use the power that it offers.
Randuin's Omen completed for ZDZ as he TPs to the fight. They are looking at the inhib. Meiko misses the Zenith Blade. Now the second inhib in the bottom lane is spawning, but ZDZ is starting to rack up the Mega Gnar. Forge getting engaged on. That's needlework used by Flandre. That just might mean a lot of the tools down, a lot of the AoE down in this situation for EDG as their health bars start to get chunked out. Another inhib will fall here. Top lane is pushing. The Baron buff minions are coming through. ZDZ goes Mega here and will be looking to push this top side as they still have Baron for so long. EDG just have to hold on.
Yeah, and the thing is, because the inhibitors respawn, there's a little bit of reprieve before most super minions come in.
Oh, Viper has to cleanse. He's already half health, but he's fine. He does have distance. He has the curtain call available. He'll pull it out as well. Decent damage now that he has the Lord Dom's completed. And Jiejie, he goes in, but Meiko as well just dies outright. They do get the trade for Chocho, but this still feels like a favored fight for AL. Flandre have to dash away. It's just one tower, half health left, and it's the cannon minion that's doing the work.
Yeah, cannon minion hammering down on it. EDG feeling desperate, but AL not wanting to get caught out again.
Oh, there goes Jiejie. He goes, ZDZ goes golden though. Flandre going back in, having the needle work back. ZDZ almost has Mega Gnar, but that's a big catch out. Scout goes golden. Xiaohao is the first one. No, Heartbreaker back. It's golden all over the place. Can he get the resets though? No, he goes down. Now ZDZ and Betty. Betty is still the focus. Viper can't do anything to help his teammates. And Viper and Scout, the only ones left. Baron minions are everywhere. And Viper takes down ZDZ. This is the miracle play for EDG. Can they make it happen? Forge takes him down, and Betty focusing the Nexus. This could just be it. EDG on the cusp of losing to anyone's legend. That's it. That's the series. The EDG falls.
And you can see the excitement. They take down the reigning world champs. They're on the edge of trying to make playoffs, and AL get a critical win against EDG. It was tough. It was hard fought. They nearly botched it at the end, but AL managed to beat EDG. And I don't think that's anything that anyone expected today.
Take a bow, you panda magnificent warriors. Absolute legends. Whatever